My guest is a stand-up comedian from New York. He's one-third of the Here's the Scenario podcast, is a comedy album titled Not Now More Than Ever. I'm excited to welcome Brendan Sagalow.
Wow, thank you so much.
I fucked so much of that up.
Yeah, it's very funny to watch somebody read away from me too.
Yeah, I wanted to like prep questions for you, but dude, I don't know how you guys have time to do anything in this city. Like,
oh yeah, it's a fucking nightmare.
It's just like moving from place to place takes so long.
Yeah, and you have to do everything on the train. Yeah. So you have to like write on the train, or you have to like draft emails.
And then you can't send them on the train itself.
Yeah, you can't. You have to wait to the next stop and like hope that you get any kind of or like join the subway Wi-Fi and send it through that. Dude, it's a fucking nightmare. But it's conditioned me especially so much to live like that like 2 weekends ago I was like, let me do nothing. It was like a Sunday and I was like, my girl's out of town or something. I'm like, let me do nothing. Mm-hmm. Let me just try and do nothing. And I really couldn't do it. I played the Guardians of the Galaxy video game for like 7 hours because I was like, that's my only way to relax. If I'm like watching TV, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Like I like stay away from writing. I wrote actually that day, but I was like, no working right now. No candle burning.
Dude, let me just turn. I think you're in frame enough, but let me.
Yeah. Should I get closer to you?
Yeah. Just It's weird because we have to look at each other.
I can look at you do that.
Yeah, that actually probably works. It's like
it really doesn't because your face is so small.
Yeah,
But you wrote questions?
Yeah, I did.
I'm so excited about that. I hate going on and people are like, so what's
up?
How do you feel?
Turn it into the same shit.
That's
about
so
New
funny.
York comedy.
So how do you feel? I could talk New York comedy all day.
Yeah.
You know, I like talking shop, but when it's like, so like, what's that tattoo mean? It makes me want to kill myself.
No, I know that feeling. So. The thing that's crazy to me is this is like a bubble out here.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's so many levels to New York comedy and like intricacies and like, I mean, how long have you been doing it here for? 10 years?
11 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I started here.
Jesus.
Yeah, started here. And you never know, like, I used to, now it doesn't matter. Like, I don't really think about any of that shit anymore. It's funny, I was just talking about this with my friend Luke, and I was like, for like until you hit 10 years doing comedy, I think the whole time you're going, you're just looking at the years. You're going, I've been doing it 5 years. I should have this, or I should do that, or like, I've been doing it 7 years. Maybe I should say I've been doing it 5 years so that people expect I'm so good and blah blah blah. And then I hit 10 years and I went, none of that matters, and it never will. Nobody is ever like. You know, maybe you could put it in your bio or whatever, but maybe when you hit like 25 years, you could put it in your bio. 25 years in stand-up comedy in New York City, Brendan Sagalow is the blah, 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 blah. But it's like so funny how for the longest time it mattered in some way. There was some sort of like how long have you been doing it? I've been doing it this long. And now I don't even care.
Do you think it's like, because you put so much work in, you feel like that's the only way to like measure what you put into it?
Kind of, but not really. Once you realize that like you could be doing it 10 years and have done nothing because you're just not doing any work, the year thing just doesn't matter.
So what do you mean by work though? Like what is actual work? Like everything out here is just so
well, like I guess it really depends on what, but focusing on the act and having kind of a plan in a way. Like you don't have to be like, this is my 8-year plan. I'm gonna put out an album and then eventually a special and blah blah blah. But having some sort of focus and being like, what do I want to do? Like even if you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for a album yet. You go, well, what can I do to get ready? I need the reps. So let me let me reach out to people and see how many shows I can get on just by asking. See, like I met somebody, maybe they'll normally if you're cool and you meet somebody and they're cool and you're like, you go to their show and you hang out a little bit or whatever and you get to know them and then you go, hey, can I do this sometime? They will. And so, okay, now I have a show. So if you have a show, I go, well, what's my set going to be? And then I would go to I still go to the coffee shop almost every day and write for a couple hours. But like I would go, okay, I have a show tonight. What am I going to do? Because so many people stop there. They go, oh, I'll have a show tonight. And then they go up and they bomb or whatever. And they're just not working on anything. But I'll go, okay, this will be my set. I'll work on this. Let me hit a new joke. I would love to do a new thing. And then building and building and building. And then like that kind of work where it's like focus because
just kissed.
Yeah. And I just bricked up.
You
I just bricked up on your cat. Yeah, I moved instantly. That's how uncomfortable I got with that. But yeah, it's like a lot of people don't you know, you get into this and it's those lower stages are very, you know, I'll like this. The Bushwick crowd is kind of like this. Like they're all working comedians and everything. I don't know what I'm saying, but
just talk shit about them.
It feels like there's when you go there, or when there's certain groups and certain cliques that are in it just for the community and just for the clique and that's cool. Like if you're into something just to make friends, cool, whatever.
Dude, but I was there last night. It was the first experience I had out there.
Yeah,
and I know I kind of like got a sense of what you were talking.
Yeah,
about.
they like
it was a great show, but it was also like
what show did you go to?
Tiny Cupboard.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like actually like a club, but I see what you're saying too. It kind of does have that feel, but those guys are like
out here than Seattle.
Oh,
it's like
it's like a factory here.
I don't even like Wilfred Padua like came up.
I saw him last
Seattle.
night.
Oh, nice.
He mentioned you.
Oh, really?
And I was like, yeah, I think he's coming by tonight.
Yeah.
And you never did.
I fucking wanted to, but I got caught on some platform somewhere, fucking scared out of my mind.
Welcome to New York.
Dude, some kid almost fucking jumped onto the tracks last night.
Oh my god!
Like, so when you said like, I'm late, that
it's
somebody hit by a train. I was
the
like,
6, the 4, and the 5. I was on coming here, and they were like massive delays, and I was like, what is this? Because I normally will just be like, all right, whatever. But I got off the train, I went straight to Twitter, and I went to the MTA thing because the conductors aren't going to tell you. They're going to go, there was a problem on the 28th Street subway station. Exactly, so you're kind of assuming what it could be. Someone fucking stabbed somebody on the train. It could be someone killed themselves. It could be someone shit all over the place. And I was like, I have to know what's going on because how do you take out 3 trains? And I looked it up on the subway Twitter, and it was like they'll tell you. Somebody jumped in front of the train.
Really?
Yeah, someone was hit by the train.
God
they said.
Damn, dude.
So
how often does that happen?
No, probably all the time.
You're clipping a little bit.
Oh, am I?
See if here.
I'll hold it like this.
Keep talking for a second.
Talking, making sure I'm not clipping.
People fucking listening, if that was annoying. So this is like
oh, is it because
fluttering?
I'm too loud?
Yeah, I put the like dampener on or whatever. But
well, what if I hold it down here?
That's probably better.
Okay, cool.
Because that's just the inside look of doing a podcast.
All this money for all this equipment. And nothing ever worked.
I'm blown away by how well these
are great.
They work so much better than what I thought they would. Yeah. Like it was fucking.
Yeah,
wild.
we use this for our Patreon show and stuff. Yeah, but so like you go to the Brooklyn crowds and like they're like they like party and stuff. But I guess the club guys do that too. I just don't do that. It doesn't like I don't feel like any. I don't know. I don't want to say anything insulting to him, but like I just don't feel any like I feel like this crowd's just here to have fun and they're, and that's cool. And I did that for years. Like I did that for 10 years of blacking out in the clubs, going to Brooklyn, blacking out there, and then eventually you're fucking 8, 9, 10 years in, I have no money. Nobody knows who I am. Not saying anybody knows who I am now. And I'm just like, Oh my
Well,
God.
that's before this podcast.
Yes, of course we will blow up
mean,
unless the clipping.
The
Unless the
first
clipping.
8
Unless everybody
minutes of
turned
audio
off
is just
on the
terrible.
clipping.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the video is gonna be with this window in the background too. So if it's terrible, I apologize for
I'm
that
gonna have
too.
this taken down from YouTube, I think.
Exactly.
But like, you know what I'm saying. After a while, you just go, I gotta fucking work on this. I
Well,
can't.
dude, this is a question I just I gotta know the answer to. Is like, how financially, how do people make it work out here? Because
I
it's
don't know.
so.
You're asking the wrong guy. I'm broke as a motherfucking joke, dude. But
That's
if
why
I
you did this
were-
podcast. But
yeah, I'm gonna do 5 minutes, take your C note, and get the fuck out of here. No, but it's you just gotta pay attention to how the people that are doing it do it. Ask the questions like, you know, a lot of people start like LLCs. I have no fucking idea how to do that. I want to get good at that because I want to like create a savings and stuff. And then a lot of people will make albums, and you can, if you have, you know, a relationship with SiriusXM, that's passive income. You can have them you know, play your tracks and stuff. Like my album is on SiriusXM, and it's a blessing because every once in a while you get like, you know, when it first came out, you get like a pretty good check, and then every once in a while they're like, let's play Sagalow's tracks for a little bit, and I'll get like a check for whatever, and I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't even get the check; they just put it in my account. I'm like, why do I have this money? And then you look, and it's like, oh, Sound Exchange, great.
Mike was telling me when we were in Spokane, he's like, yeah, but occasionally I get a check for like 17 cents.
You get nothing. Sometimes
like,
you get
why,
nothing.
Why
You're
did you even send this?
Yeah,
to
did they
me?
play half of your track? They're like, this is, hey, I was at the mall the other day. That was Brendan Sagalow. We really don't want him to succeed, so we're going to just stop it right there. But sometimes you get a good check. But yeah, sometimes you're like, and they have to send you that money. They're not going to be like, hey, do you want this $2?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
like, sure.
They're contracted too. But like,
so
okay,
people will, you know, and I think that's like a good goal because it's all right in front of you. You start at the notebook, and then you whatever, you write your fucking hour, and you really focus on the hour. You bring it around. I mean, honestly, if you're just looking to make money, it doesn't even have to be that fucking good. You just record it. You get a fucking relationship with somebody over at Sirius who doesn't care if the shit on there is shit. And then they'll play and you'll get money or whatever. But if you want like a good album, you work on it, you go out there and whatever, and then you could give it to, and then when you're done, you're like, what next? What do I do next?
Yeah.
Special or whatever the fuck.
Well, since we're on the topic, where can people get your album if they're interested in buying and supporting it?
You can get it on iTunes, Spotify. You can get it everywhere. I mean, if you just want to listen to it. I personally don't really think it's that good. Like, I like it. I like it in a sense where I'm like, you know, but it's like, it's good, but I'm still, I can see how green I was, and like still am and stuff. Like, I'm still learning, but it's like part of me goes, and I'll be the only person to say this, but a part of me is like, maybe I shouldn't have put an album out, you know, this early. Because I was also drunk when I did it too. Like, I got hammered and I was like, ugh. And, you know, I think I was listening to a lot of Dane Cook at the time too. So I'm like all sounds and faces, and I'm like, you know. So then whatever, it is what it is. But the next one I want to make good.
Yeah.
But it's like, do we do albums anymore? Like, why don't I just put out a special, and then have the audio and give that to Sirius or whatever. But I just always romanticize the album.
Well, it's so different on the West Coast too. Is like, I mean, I don't even know what's going on in LA. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, that's such a like labyrinth over there. But like, Dry Bar is like very popular in like Washington. Like, there's several people I know that like have done Dry Bar, and like it's.
But you have to be clean for that, don't you?
You have to be clean, and the clean criteria is fucking wild, dude. They send you, Drew Barth came on. He, like, very nice guy, very funny. Fucking, he did 2 albums with them, and, like, they send you, like a full portfolio, like when you get it back. So say you do 50 minutes,
Yeah.
they'll give you like 28 back that's cut up, and each one of the jokes that like is removed, they'll give you the reasons why it was removed. So like this is implying this is doing this, and like
Weird.
it's fucking crazy.
So
and
how
it's
clean do you have to be? You have to be,
Utah
like,
clean.
squeaky clean, right?
Utah clean. Like
Which
it's all like that's
How
it's
do you
subjective.
even talk about anything? Yeah, it is subjective. What do you talk about? What do you like?
I mean, that's
Picture frames?
it's there are guys in Washington that like are road dogs that like they are so used to working that way, so it's just everything is just like tweaking it to where like you take the punch, like the abrasiveness
Yeah.
out of it,
Yeah.
to where like you're implying stuff, but you're not
You do it with
saying
your
it.
face.
And,
I went home the other day and my wife was there.
But dude, they're like one of the guys. I think it's like 6 million views on YouTube. It's wild.
Wow.
Like they have just this factory of like getting shit out there. So
Amazing.
but where do you go from there, right? Like, what's his name? Shane
Smith.
Yeah, he got like he started at Wise Guys in Utah. I heard about him because the club I work at, like they're
Yeah,
like
he's
the
doing great
owners.
now, isn't he?
Yeah, but he like when he came up to perform, I guess he was like, I fucking hate my audience, like because it's just not the comedy that he wanted to be doing.
What, like clean shit?
Yeah, like people coming out for clean stuff, and then they see him live, and it's not his act, and they get pissed.
Damn.
And
I
so
never even
like
thought of that.
Yeah, like you want an audience that you enjoy performing for, right?
Yeah.
That's the
But
thing that sucks about
also-
being a character. It's like
Also, it's so hard to accumulate a fan base that you enjoy 100%. Like sometimes people come out and you're like, this guy's an asshole. He likes me, Jesus. You're never gonna get a full crowd of people that you enjoy.
who would you like? Who is your ideal fan? Have you ever thought about that?
My ideal fan is somebody who is nice, who doesn't bust balls because they think we're friends. Like a lot of fans will be like, Sagalow, like they'll bust, and I'm a sensitive fucking guy. I don't even like when my friends are mean to me.
Yeah.
Why do we have to be mean? Like, can't we just be semi-nice?
The roasting without context.
Yeah, it's like I'll flip out on people like that, not fully, but I'll be like, shut up. Like, I'm not gonna laugh when you're like, because if I'm like streaming on Twitch and someone's like, Sagalow, your room looks like shit, and it's like, we're not cool. We're not friends. I'm constantly having mental crises, and you are busting my balls is not helping. It's harder to be nice, I think. It's just be nice to me. That's my perfect part. Someone comes up, hey, I really like your stuff. You're fucking awesome. There was a guy in Boston that just kept saying, I love you. And I was like, I love you too.
Before you were a comic, did you have that mentality? Because I think like that's one of the things about being a comic that's like kind of great is that I was talking to this girl about this literally 2 days ago, where I put up a thing on Reddit and some guy just goes, this host like he's very hard to watch and listen to, and like, dude, I have a fucking weird face, I got weird eyes, all this shit, and I see it and I'm like, god damn, like it just hurts much, right?
You get over that though. I'll say this. I've fully gotten over any negative comments. It's the people that are fans that it's funny. I was just looking. I never look at comments.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me look at some comments off of podcasts that I've done. And I went to one of the most recent Legion of Skanks one I did.
Mm-hmm. And
the comments are pretty positive, I'm not really affected by people being like, I don't get it. What's Sagalow doing here? Sometimes I like that where someone said online once, like, I never really got into Sagalow. And I was like, ooh, that's cool. I'm like, I'm somebody to get into. I'm an artist that people can get into. I kind of romanticize that. But there is one guy that's so funny. I was laughing on the train coming here to this. There's a guy on YouTube that calls himself Orthaniel Simpson. So he's OJ, right? And his profile picture is Trump, like Trump making a weird face. And he's got like 6 subscribers, and it's he's the same name, same profile picture for years. It's been years. And I'll notice, and I don't check the comments that often. I yell at, I don't yell, but I'm like, because Feeney will do that. He'll check comments, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, that's crazy. So, but every time, like if I'll do like the Gas Digital World shows, like Lewis's show and Skanks and that kind of stuff, Bye Guys, that stuff, that the Gas Digital era of shows, he'll comment and he'll say, Sagalow, I fucking hate this guy. And it's for real hate. Like I really feel it, but I'm like, wow, he's been doing this for years. That's gotta be kind of love. There's gotta be a love to that. Like someone who hates me so much, but tunes in every time.
It's fucking bizarre.
I'm like, I kind of think you like me. There's gotta be like a part of you that's like, I want to see that. Because when you really don't like someone, I'll, like, if I don't like a celebrity or whatever, I'm not listening to the episodes they're on. I'm not tuning in to the stuff they're doing. I don't follow them. I have them blocked, like, or whatever. Like, I don't care. But this guy is so fun. I'm like, I might have to invite him to my wedding. He's been a part of my whole life for years. I've seen this guy since I think Trump started. That's where the profile picture is. I was like, this guy is, and I'm weird to even mention him, but I think that's hilarious.
Couple of things before we keep going. I forgot to mention, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe.
Hell yeah.
Hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any upcoming content. And then we're at an Airbnb right now. That's why there's like this shag blanket.
Yeah.
I mean, we just sat down and like
cares. Do you guys care? Comment if you care.
Yeah, that'll help us with the algorithm. And
well, don't tell them that.
I mean,
I was trying to trick them.
The transparency. I try to be real about it.
But, I like that. I respect that.
And also, what's your podcast on YouTube for people?
Oh, here's the scenario.
Subscribe to that.
And while you're there, subscribe to my YouTube. You can check out my special there. I put out a special during the pandemic, and we filmed it on the roof. And it's a lot of the same jokes from the album. And it's named the exact same thing as well. So it's all the same jokes from the same album. So you could check that out. But this one's on a roof, and it's in front of 30 people. So I'm just bombing the entire time. I'm like, why would I put this out? But it's a nice little, it shows you what, and people liked it. I was like, I don't like it. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm on a roof. I'm doing well in front of 30 people, so I might as well be bombing. The laughs are like escaping. It's very strange, but it's just going to be one of those things that's like, all right. So you can watch that. I have a bunch of web series things up there. And yeah, check out my Instagram and Twitter and TikTok.
There we go.
And Twitch.
So I want to understand, like, I'm looking at this from the outside, like, considering moving here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sort of been like navigating this. I mean, I got like 12 or 13 shows booked here and done a show like pretty much every night, but like compared to what our shows are in Washington, it's so like shows here are what mics are out there. Like we legitimately get audiences to open mic, which if you were it would blow your fucking, probably crazy. Like one of the worst show here is, how do I say this? I don't know. It's completely different. So are you in at the Cellar yet?
Yeah, I just got passed a couple of weeks ago.
Okay,
probably like a month ago.
And
I just got in.
Like, what is the climb to get to that? Like, how did you?
It took me a long time because I feared rejection. You know, you also hate yourself. Well, I do. I hate myself. So, asking for anything is very hard for me because I'm very ready for people to be like, no, which never really Actually, my worst fear when it comes to asking for stuff usually happens. It's like Murphy's Law. It usually the other day. So right now I'm looking for representation and stuff. I'll get back to the other thing, but like I'm looking for representation because I don't have any, and I would like some help and stuff. So I'm asking around, and the first person I asked, because it's hard. It's very hard to ask for things for me. So I'm like, and I was like, nobody wants to fucking, people are rooting for you. No one's gonna call you a bitch for asking for help. And the first person I talked to was like, it like became like she thought I was asking her to represent me, and I was like, no, I was like, I'm just I was like, hey, I'm just saying I'm out, because some people probably think that I do have representation. And I was like, I don't, so I'm just putting it out there. I know you know people. And she's like, and then she goes, well, thank you for saying you'd never work with me. And I went, what? And you just have to go, like, in my head, I go, oh my God, the worst thing is happening. The thing that I didn't want, and I hate it. And but then a part of me also goes, but then I quickly go to, no, this person is just weird and this is happening, and don't, whatever. It is what it is. This happened. Say what you got to say and move on and shit like that. Cuz it's so the same thing. The reason I bring that up is because for the seller, it took me a very long time, to, even when I felt like I should be in there, and you could be sitting around with your friends being like, no, dude, you gotta be, I should be in there. Do you see the people that are, without making any at all, what am I trying to say here? Without even trying. So it's like, that book, The Secret, or like that whole fucking thing about manifesting.
I don't, but
there's a whole thing about like manifesting what you want, and the whole idea is say it out into the universe. I want to get laid by Jennifer Lopez, and it'll happen, and it kind of does, but not that magical. When you say so, like I was like, okay, what I want to get into the cellar. I want to work that place. What do I do? I need recommendation. Okay, that's the part that's hard for me. How do I ask for it? Because we all want people to like. You want to be like, and then they just asked me, and then I went there. And now, and now, and then Steven Spielberg called me because he heard about me, and everyone's just coming to me when it's not that at all. You have to constantly be putting yourself out there and be ready for any kind of rejection or whatever. Like, so
dude, there's some people that are so good at asking though. Like, it's fucking crazy. Because I have the same thing where I don't like assuming like people want to work with me or things like it's just, I like working with people that like I feel like are good people, and they're like, oh, he's a good guy or whatever, but like that doesn't help you in this space really. Like,
but it isn't. It's like the problem is because I have that same thought, and then we just stop ourselves from trying to get the thing we want, where you got to exhaust all the options. You go, well, how do I get this thing that I want? And then you go for it and you try to get it. And if you don't get it, you go, well, I'm even Stevens. I don't have the thing. Not only do I not have the thing that I wanted, I know I can't have it. So now, bye-bye. Want is now gone. It's upsetting, but live in the upset, be sad, and then fucking move on and just be like, well, what's another thing that I want to do? So I asked for the recommendation, and I asked a couple people, and one person specifically did it. The other two did not, which is fine. And then I did it, and I got in, and I was like, that helped me a lot. That changed something in me where I was like, I have to ask for things. Yeah. I have to actively put myself out there.
Dude, it's so weird out here in the sense, like you just talking about the like relationships and talking to these people. Like, I'm 32.
Oh yeah.
And like hearing you talk about that girl and that interaction stuff, like most people 32 or like they like in the Midwest and stuff, they have a house and fucking
Yeah.
kids and things like this kind of feels like high school
It's
out here a
very
little
high
bit.
school, dude. It's
And I don't
incredibly
like
high
that very
school.
much. Like
No, it
I'm like
sucks.
a grown ass man and I don't
Yeah.
necessarily want people to know all my business and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that piece of it. I'm like I don't think that's that healthy and like
Totally.
there's parts of this experience coming out here. I like Mike said, come out, check it out, like
Yeah.
see if you like it. There are parts that I really enjoy. And then there are also parts of like you're talking about being an artist and shit. Like I don't know how good it is for your point of view to be that influenced by this many other artists all the time. Like
Yeah.
it's hard. Like I've seen the shows that I've been on. I've seen a lot of like similarities in
There's
delivery
tons
and
of
like
yeah, everybody. I mean, but that's always been like that. It's always been if you get a bunch of like a big group like Chicago, L.A., New York, all
Yeah.
that shit. Even small. If there's a group of people and someone is really funny. If there's a group of comics and someone is really funny and everybody really respects them and they're
they
climbing
start
the
having
ranks,
babies.
they're gonna start having babies.
Yeah.
And then people do that. You know, there's a lot of people that do like there's like a certain way to say a punchline where you go like blah 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 blah, but that's or like but now, you know, stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's everybody's doing that. I mean, I went to a show last night in Bushwick and I'm watching everybody and it was a good show and everybody was doing really well, but everybody sounded the same. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, this is and I probably do that too. There's probably shit that like I don't know, Louis does that I do or whatever, or Burr, or some sort of other white pasty guy
Oh, for
that
sure.
I see myself in. So it's
So-
like, yeah, that's like a part of it.
Back to like the climb aspect of it, and I don't like using that word. I just like I guess I'm visualizing like if I were to come out here because we mentioned like Wilfred before this, and
Yeah.
he's kind of saying like he is glad he waited until like he was further along to come out here because it was like it would just be like he wasn't ready
Yeah.
or he wouldn't have been ready. And I mean, I don't know when the right time is to make that type of move, but like, how did you get from like fucking open mic to the cellar? Like, that's a
It's like, well, for the first part where it's like, when do you feel ready? You'll never feel ready.
Yeah.
So you just gotta like, Wilfred is he came later. He was funny. People knew him because he was featuring a lot.
mm-hmm.
So he was able to kind of come in and ingrain himself. And he's a very personable dude. And he hung out a lot and he went out and now people know him and stuff. But like, I think everybody has their own way to do it. So if it were me, if I had just time, like if I had 10 minutes of good or whatever, I'm coming out. I gotta come out. I mean, how much time can you really waste being in a place that's like you might get fucking stuck there? I'm not saying you. I'm saying anybody might get stuck there. It really matters what you want. Like if you're cool with, dude. Sometimes I'm like, should I just go to another fucking town and just be that guy, be the guy that like kills in that town? That's like,
Dude, you
a
gotta come out
star
to
there.
Seattle and just like hang
Well,
out for a little while.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
come
talking
out
to
for a week and like
the
if,
people
like,
at Laughs I'm talking to. So
yeah, they're you'll love that club.
yeah.
And then like just come out for a week, do some shows, like get mental space from this and just see like, dude,
Yeah.
it's really this is such an intense place.
Yeah.
Like and the speed of everything, like it's cool to see like how quick everybody is, but it's also like there's a fakeness to it that I don't
Oh, it's so fake.
I don't like.
But everything you're saying is just like you knew that. You knew it. You know that New York and LA is fake. You know that like you know the stuff that you have to do and you hate it. Like I talked about that with my therapist for a long time. Like for years I would mention, I fucking hate this person and I hate that I got to be like, you know, they book this, so I have to be cool to them, and I don't want to walk up and just start talking because I know that they know that I want something from them, and I know that they're gonna know I'm kissing their ass, and the whole time where it's just like, yeah, dude, that's just what it is. That's what this is. Like, you could, you know, if you want, say, the Tonight Show or whatever, or like, you know, you got to walk up to the booker, shake his hand. Hi, very nice to meet you. I like who you're putting on. I would love to do the show. Even if you fucking hate everyone that they're putting on,
Yeah.
you go, I like, you know, you gotta do that shit. And it kills and it hurts, but it's so fucking a part of it until you don't have to do that anymore, which may never come.
Yeah, I don't know if like that's what I'm grappling with is I didn't get into this to do that. Like I just didn't. Like I got into it because I love comedy and like the comics that I respected like were kind of anti that and like Stanhope
Totally.
you know those like I really I listened to Ari's podcast like crazy like before I got into it and I just appreciated like him just sort of going his own path.
Yeah.
And granted like as I have learned more it's like yeah, he had some big breaks. Like he had some, but he was also like there hanging out and being real. Like I don't think there's people, I don't know him personally, but
he's also incredibly personable. So he's good at that. He's good at getting out there and talking to people and setting stuff up. But he knows that it's better to just do your own thing. Like there's a middle ground there. Like I'm not saying you have to go down this road where you're kissing everybody's ass and, oh God, I hope I get on Comedy Central and all this shit. Like you can make your own way, but if you want to do the Tonight Show, you got to walk up to the guy and you got to tell, you know, squeaky wheel gets the grease, open mouths get fed kind of bullshit where like, you know, I do the JFL auditions and I haven't gotten it, but you know, and so many comics do this where you do the audition and you leave and you go, the act will speak for itself.
Yeah.
But nobody gives a shit about your act.
No.
That's not fully aware of it. Unless people are like, oh, after, and you're just like, oh, you put on a fucking fur coat and you walk the fuck out. And people are like, oh, you're getting standing ovations and shit. Nobody really care. You have to, like, you can kill and they'll forget about you. And because so many people are killing and some people might kill. So you have to, like,
you don't even necessarily have to kill.
No,
like
you could
stay
there.
Could know the right person. Like there's a lot of that to it. I don't know. That's where I'm sort of what I want. I think in comedy is I want to be. This is what I was talking with Mike about. It's like I want to be the best comic that I can be.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is necessarily the place for that because in order to like get up and get regular reps, you have to play that game. From what I've seen,
kind of like, I think as far as the scene goes, if you're just a nice guy and you find your group and you'll produce a show and then you'll have a spot for a couple of weeks and then that sucks. So you leave and then, but you put somebody on and they like you and they'll be like, oh, and you don't have to be fake with them. They just go, oh, let's give, who, you know, also a ton of these bar shows and stuff, they're looking for people. So if you just put it out there, hey, I'm looking, I'd love to do your show sometime. And sometimes they'll look at it and read it and won't answer you and you'll see red and you'll fucking hate them. But you just got to swallow that and just go, all right, and move on. See it from their point of view. If they don't really know you, it kind of makes sense. They're getting a bunch of like, there's so much of that rejection and shit in this, but I think it's like if you really want to do this shit and you're here, you'll find your way, and then something might click. You might wake up and just be like, I got to do this. I have to do that. Like let me put out an album, and then when you start doing shit for yourself, people will notice that and they'll. If it's good, sometimes they'll help you out too. It's just like, it really is just getting up, working, and not quitting is the entire thing.
But like, have you been working a day job throughout this time?
I worked a day job. Oh yeah, I had tons of day jobs. I actually just stopped. Like I just became full-time comedy, like 2 years ago.
Okay.
When the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Because I lost the job that I was doing. So I started when I was in college and I kind of like hung out at the New York Comedy Club, which was a shithole at that time.
Mhm.
Now it's like nice and one of the best clubs in the city, but it was owned by this guy who didn't give a shit about it. It was like their alleyway club that they were like, yeah, go there to get stabbed if you want. And you're like, okay, cool. And I would hang out there, and I kept my head down, maybe to a fault, because I didn't go out and I didn't show my face that much, and I didn't get to know the people that are like in my class now that I'm friends with, because I was just hanging out with a bunch of hacks and like developing all these bad habits and just keeping my head down. But also I was working to get good. So I was kind of in another place in a way. I was kind of in another state, and then I kind of just showed up because I've been at that place only. The fuck was I just talking? How did I get to that? How did I get to that?
I had the same thing.
What did you ask? What did you say?
I'm trying to remember now.
Oh my god!
I took like too many
bong hits,
just pills when I was younger. Like my fucking
me too.
My
My
short-term memory is so. I'll ask the question and fucking forget which question I was at.
The day jobs.
Yeah.
So when I was doing that, I was walking dogs. I was in school, and then I delivered pizzas, and then I walked dogs, and then I started working at the New York Comedy Club when Emilio and all of them came in, and it was like new and cool, and they were starting up, and it still kind of had this like grungy vibe or whatever, and I would answer phones there for like 2-3 years. I was answering phones at New York Comedy Club, and then the pandemic hit, and I just didn't get a day job.
Yeah.
And now I'm just still not doing that, even though I probably should. But I'm afraid that I'm going to be working at an Olive Garden, and someone's going to be like, are you the guy with the 4-inch penis from Legion of Skanks? I'm like, yep, that's me, baby.
Is that actually true?
I mean, I don't know. I said, it was this, we did on Legion of Skanks where they were like, they're asking me how big my dick is, and I was like, I think it's like 4, not knowing that that's small. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, it might be 4 hard, might be, I don't know. And they were like, that's small, dude. And I was like, no, what? And big laugh, big thing. And then we called my girlfriend, and I asked her, and I was like, it was great. I was like, babe, it's all silent. I go, babe, how big would you say how many inches do you think my penis is without it? Oh, hard. I said hard. Big silence, and then when she said 4. We just kept saying 4, and then she said it, and it was so perfect. The room exploded, and I guess it's defined me for the rest of my life.
That's fucking hilarious.
But that's what I'm afraid of. That But I don't think I need a day job with the podcast and everything, and I'm getting spots and stuff. Yeah. But it's like, I get it. I get that feeling, like the when comics are so frustrated, they're like, I just don't want a fucking day job. But you really just got to do what you got to do, because there's always going to be somebody that's doing it.
Yeah.
That you're like, man, I don't want to do that. That sucks. There's somebody who's doing it who also thinks it sucks, and they're getting ahead.
Yeah.
So it's
that's the piece of it too, where my buddy John Gard, he came up in Houston, like toured with Pablo Francisco, and like featured for him forever on the road. And we were talking about like this, like there's no balance here.
What do you mean?
Like I met some dude that he does like 3 shows a night and teaches kindergarten.
Yeah.
And I was like, when do you sleep? And he's like, we sleep when we make it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
did he really say we sleep when we make it?
Yeah. I mean,
obviously
said it a lot
he's not
cooler.
going to get any sleep. Even if you do make it, you're going to have more or less sleep.
What the fuck do you have to talk about on stage? if all you're doing is going from spot to spot to spot, like there's some element of
that's a factor too. Yeah, you do like have like you go. What do I talk? I'm talking about movies that I've watched.
Yeah, when I'm in Seattle, like I'm doing, I don't know, like doing more than 10 spots a week, 12 spots a week is good in Seattle. Like it's really good. It's
was that like
probably
two a night?
2 a night, but like, they're good club spots too, and like then like actual shows and shit.
Yeah. I mean like it's completely different here, where there is kind of that starting over kind of, but you're not fully starting over, but there is like you're going to have to fucking take a bullet, but you know, it does make you better. Anytime
yeah.
one time in 1 week I did Rikers Island. I went to Rikers Island and
Where the
I
fuck
did a
is that?
show. It's a jail on an island right outside Queens.
Okay.
It was where Lil Wayne was and everything.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking jail,
Is
dude.
that where he was deposed?
What's that?
Have you seen the deposition video?
Oh no, I don't know.
Where
They
he's
probably
like,
did that
you
in a
know, they
building.
can't save you, right? He's just staring at the lawyer. He's like, what the fuck do you mean by that? He's like, they can't help you. It's like, is that a threat? He's like, they just can't help you.
What?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
I'll show it to you.
Lil Wayne said that?
Yeah, in his deposition. It's fucking wild, dude.
Weird.
I think it was for the gun charges.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, he was there. And yeah, I did.
He was there?
Show. No,
during-
he
oh,
wasn't
okay.
there. He was there. I would love.
That
if
would
he
have
was
been
there.
that.
No,
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
No, but that's the place he was, and I did. So I did that on like a Tuesday, and then the Wednesday I did a detox
Fuck yeah.
place. So it was like two of the hardest fucking things that I didn't get into comedy to do that stuff. But now,
But both those places, I'm sure they were like the audiences were fucking. Were they terrible?
yeah, the prisoners at Rikers Island weren't the greatest audience.
They weren't like stoked for a show.
No, I mean they were
Really?
happy because they were, they got to hang out and they were like, it was their prize. Like
Yeah.
if they're nice, they if they're good for a couple
I
of
would
months.
imagine like if you're fucking
Sure.
if this is like
But they're fucking mentally deranged people.
That
Not all
makes
of them,
sense.
but like they're
it's
you
a glass half full mentality on this
Sure.
side of the couch.
I will say this: after, you do feel like an angel because they're coming up and like even though they were heckling you and you don't like I wasn't going to say fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'm in Rikers Island. They'll fucking run at me and
Yeah.
one of them will get a punch on me before the cops get
Oh,
me.
for sure.
So they'd heckle me and I'm like, totally, I'm gay. Sucks. And then after they were like, thank you so much for coming. They were like, that was really funny, man. That was really good. I love comedy. Like we talked to them. We all hung out with them and stuff for like a good 30 minutes after. And then I did a detox center after and that kind of sucked.
Really?
But if you're getting I was getting laughs and stuff at some things and shit where now I think about those two gigs back to back. If I'm at a thing where I'm like, if someone goes, "Oh man, I'm sorry, this sucks," I was like, I've done worse. So it's like the building the armor kind of stuff, and that's
Yeah.
a lot of New York. You're building armor. You're dealing with how to bomb. You're dealing with when someone's not fucking paying attention. You're dealing with when you're in the corner of a bar and there's a bunch of TVs playing sports and the whole fucking bar is there for that game and you're trying to do a joke and they fucking hate you.
Dude, I did this show on Tuesday. It was I think I talked to Mike after this.
Yeah.
It was right when I came from that show to see you guys at Illuminati.
Oh yeah.
And dude, I went up first, didn't see what anybody else was doing. It was exactly what you're talking about. Like nobody is there for comedy.
No, nobody.
There was a family,
Where was this?
Astoria,
Oh yeah.
and
Astoria is not really that good for comedy yet.
I'm sitting there. There's a family of 5, and like two of them are like, 4, 5-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this what New York comedy? Like, I just like,
Sometimes.
yeah,
Like,
but like I
it's-
thought all the time. Like I'm sitting there, like
It's all over
there's
the
no way
place,
I can.
yeah.
Like, there's no way. How the fuck am I supposed to build time? Like,
you get to a point where you go like, all right, because there are good shows. There
Yeah.
are, and
well, I went to your show at like that
Yeah,
show,
you're like,
and I was
oh,
like, oh,
this is what it
yeah,
should
no,
be.
But the thing is the shit that will proliferate in places without that balance. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of like aggressively alt stuff here, and I
Yeah.
don't mean like
Nobody's
there's
really
alt
doing
comedy that I enjoy and respect. It's not predominantly what I'm into,
that. Yeah.
but there's like character stuff that like it just wouldn't work here. Like people wouldn't fucking like they'd see someone go on stage and they'd be like, fuck. I mean, it's just the audience has so much more input in New York
Yeah.
than anywhere else I've ever been.
But it really depends on the venue. Like some venues people are kind of ready for that. A lot of Brooklyn venues are ready for that. like, you know, is really good and kind of alternative is like Martin Urbano is good. He's still like a stand-up, but he's really kind of alternative and funny. And there's also another guy named Ricky something he's kind of like he's not around that much. Like he's still kind of lower level, but I saw him once do this thing where he's like a zookeeper, and it's really funny, and there is some of that stuff, but I think that is lacking right now. There's no alternative really anything.
Kind of good with it. I I see a lot of it
That's
where I'm at,
yeah.
and it's like it works if there are jokes, you know, like if there's underlying, like the character works if there are jokes.
Yes,
but it's also like
yeah,
in a way, I think people go to the character because it's a shell. Right, like it's easy that it's like armor, like you're talking about.
yeah,
Like you build up that armor by like seeing your weaknesses and like and looking like, okay, this isn't actually me. Like you're like peeling the onion back. There's another way to have that armor is just by throwing stuff on there to be like, oh, this is what people think.
Just
I am.
watch me. I can do this without you even being here. Like that's
what's creepy, dude.
The
it's
alternative
like
kind of
the
stuff.
Stuffed animals, like
exactly.
the audience or my stuffed animals,
without you
fucking
even being
creepy here. As hell to see, dude.
Yeah, where it's like for guys that just do stand up, you're being like, this is who I am, and I'm literally talking to you. So if you're not paying attention or anything, I'm gonna fucking call you out for it.
Oh yeah,
which could be bad or whatever. But
that's another thing that's really different here. Is sorry if that's all I'm talking about
no,
in this
I love
episode,
this.
but like,
no, I love this.
I think lighting plays a big factor.
Oh yeah,
in how scenes are different. Like a lot of the shows I do, there's like spotlights, right?
Yeah.
And you see the spotlight. So like all of your facial expressions and emotions and stuff are manufactured. Like you are performing them. Whereas like here, there's not that overpowering lighting where you see the audience, you see all of them. And so you're like, your delivery is affected by it. It's much more natural. And like, if you see like a lot of West Coast comics, it's just like, it's theatrics and like all this shit. They're looking at no one because it's just an abyss.
If there's just a spotlight on you, you don't see anybody.
Nothing.
You're just like,
and you have to manufacture expressions.
Where like perfect lighting is above you, and it's a bunch of lights looking down, so it's illuminating the stage and it's illuminating everything, and you could see people and you could see the audience, and in like audience can see their peers around laughing. Like, if it's just dark, people are just gonna be like tired.
It's weird. It's weird. So I did Tacoma with Big J, and like I was surprised that like I think he's just such like a nice guy that he's not gonna ask for anything, but like I would have assumed that like at some point he would have said like, hey, the lower bowl, like you gotta brighten it because he does so much crowd work. But like he just worked with what he had, which I respect. I respect that. Like,
was he like, I can't really see anybody? What's going on?
Well, it just none of us could, right? Like it's it's a heavy lighting place, and I know they do that for a reason there. Like the room is so big that you need that lighting, and I like it's justified, and it's a fucking rad club. But for someone like that, that's his bread and butter, you know, and like to have to like sort of just work with what is in the front row. And I saw Attell there too, and it was like it was a similar thing. I mean, it's just it takes food off of your plate. But
it's all incredibly easy, and people, you know, that's what Todd Glass said in that I Am Comic documentary. If you ever saw that, he had a whole thing where he was like, it's incredibly easy and people fuck it up all the time. It goes tables, candles on the tables, fucking lights facing the stage, microphone. Yeah. That's it. Like curtain behind you. It's not that hard. Yeah. But you got to deal with what you got to deal with. Like, it's like if you do a show where you walk in and they're like, sorry, we don't have a microphone actually. And you're like, okay. And that's kind of like a thing, like that'll throw you off where you want to go, well, how am I going to do the thing where I go chugga, chugga, chugga in the microphone and blah, 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 blah. But being in New York or being in wherever where there are tons of those shows. Yeah. Whatever, dude. Like I did a show a couple of months ago where it was like good crowd, packed out crowd in a bar, but it was good, and the microphone died.
Yeah.
And a person who didn't build that armor of having to deal with that would probably panic and bomb.
Yeah.
And I just went, all right, and I just said my jokes louder, and I did a show for them, you know what I mean? And it was fine, and I did really well, and it was like, and even the producer was like, that was so, you really knew what to do. And I was like, yeah, because I've been fucking performing in libraries and like washing, I've been literally in washing machines just performing for people. And it's that's the stuff you learn in New York. And if you could just look forward and be like, whatever, this is a lot of pain, but I'm not quitting, and I'm just gonna keep going, I think you'll succeed. I think people will succeed if they just are just in. It's hard though at like 30 something where you're like, I don't want to take shit from people.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I gotta do what I gotta do, and I just gotta fucking grit my teeth, and like, now I'm not saying you have to be like, yeah, at least they're gonna shit on you, and you go, yes sir, but a part of you, the other part of you that wants you to go, hey, you're being fucking stupid right now, and like, and you're a weirdo, and you seem autistic, and I don't know how you got into this, all that shit you want to say, I just go, okay, well, I'll say this to somebody else. I'll go, hey, do you know blah blah blah? Yeah, they're retarded, and then that you get that out.
Yeah.
And then that's New York comedy to a
It's so funny. God damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like a good kind of stopping place. Is there anything? I know we bounced around a bunch, but anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I don't know. I mean, it's up to you, dude.
Yeah,
I love
we're
talking about comedy.
We're like
Although
almost
I'm
at an
probably
hour.
such a douchebag. You got any more questions? Are you sure you're gonna come here? You gonna move here,
Dude? I don't know because
it's a lot.
everybody
Picking up
has a
your whole
different
life.
opinion about it, right? And
Yeah.
the biggest hesitancy I have is like I have a really cool, like I've done shows here this week and I haven't felt like, with the exception of that bar situation where like I just misread the situation. Like I should have just had fun with it, right? Like you can't do anything about when the table is like when everything's all over the table, like you're not going to eat.
Exactly.
So that I'm fine with once knowing that, but I'm everything's new here, so like it's.
But look, you're already saying like I should have just had fun. So
Yeah.
next time you're in that stupid fucking position, and if you move here, there will be a lot of that position.
Yeah.
You'll go just have fun.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have a good set. And you go, I fucking learned.
Yeah.
And then, it's just a lot of ups and downs.
But the process of like building time in here is so different than where like in Seattle or anywhere else I've been, like you do your shit and then you go rewrite it and like you listen back and like, it's a kind of
standard.
Like,
That's
whereas
how
here I feel like there's not even the time to necessarily do that.
Yeah, but there's always a learning thing with
Yeah.
it, because so you can look at something like that situation you were in with the bar, and you can go, well, what the fuck? I can't work on you. You feel like, oh, I can't do any work here.
Yeah.
But the work is just getting one laugh. Just get one fucking laugh, or don't panic, or don't sweat. Don't call anybody out. Don't make yourself look like a fool because you're freaking out about this. And that's what I would do. And I would walk away and I'd listen and I would go, well, you laughed at yourself you laughed at the situation.
Yeah.
Maybe you can come up with a joke about like, because I get when you're new and you're trying to prove yourself and you don't want to shit on the thing because you don't want the person to go, well, who is this asshole making fun of it? And they might. But that's what I would do. I would go, what are we doing here? What is this?
Yeah.
I did a humble brag, but it will probably never air. I don't know. But I did a TV show where we filmed it, and a part of it was a stand-up show. And the stand-up show was in the middle of a fucking living room. That wasn't a part of the show. They were like MTV is performing in the living room.
Yeah.
Well, let's see these fuckers. It was like, we're going to do a stand-up show. And then when I got there and they're like, yeah, it's going to be here. And I'm like, what? And you're doing it for the cast and crew. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're filming it to pitch to like Hulu or whatever.
God.
And in it, I did my act, but I was also like this is bad. I was like, what are we doing? Like, look at this. It was 9:30 in the morning. I opened the window. Bunch of light comes in. I'm like, this is not what we should be doing here.
sure.
And this is a bad idea. And it
Yeah.
was killing, you know. So it's like shit like that. Like, you can make fun of the room and you can go, wow, I'm good in that situation. And it builds your confidence.
Yeah. It's,
you know?
I think I have like enough underlying, like I don't know. I've been all over my region and then traveled and shit. Like, I have the instincts at least,
Yeah.
like to where I'm like, hey, this seems weird, but I also like it's that like politeness from like, also when you fucking come anywhere new, you want to set a good impression.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have the reputation like, oh, this guy came on, he was a dick.
Yes,
and like,
exactly.
And so like, there's this weird element of like, I'm doing shows, and I feel like I need to kill every time I do a show, and like.
Yeah.
That I don't know if that's sort of normal for out here where like every show you do you gotta kill, but
You should be in that mindset. Like, I think there's like that could fuck you because you're like, I'm auditioning for this whole goddamn city constantly.
yeah,
And you'll get out of your head. Like, you'll get in your head. I think like approaching it like, whatever, man, it's just me. I'm here. I'm working. I don't give a fuck about the best person here. I don't give a fuck about the worst person here. I don't give a fuck about this booker, this, that, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to be in the club. I'm just trying to be good at what I do. And part of that is also like asking for spots and shit like that, and like asking bookers and stuff for that. But then when I think however long, years, weeks, months, days that it could take you to feel confident in this city, that then you can go, okay, I have to kill everything because people know me. I mean, right now you're just a crab in a bucket. That's what I would say to myself. I would go, right now I'm just a crab in a bucket. Everybody knows me. The other crabs know me. But now I have to get to a point where I have to be better than these guys.
Yeah.
And I have to, every show I'm on, crush. And people will go, Sagalow's getting funny. Like, even if they knew you for years, they'll be like, Sagalow, geez, he's murdering.
Yeah.
Let's get him more, blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't have, first impressions, you don't have to have a first impression that's, like, killer. I know people that I still think suck, and they're good now because I saw them be bad. And that's just going to happen, I think. Like,
yeah, that's what Mike said, too, where he's like, I wish I hadn't started in New York because of those, like, impressions that they leave.
Yeah. And
it's just like a hard thing to shake, but you have to fucking start somewhere too.
Yeah, and then if you just keep your fucking head down and you work and you kill and you're not playing to the comics, you're just playing to your sensibility of comedy, I think it'll work out. Or if it doesn't, it doesn't. But like, I was watching that Tony Hawk documentary recently. I don't know if you watched that.
No, but
it's fucking great.
What's it on?
HBO.
Okay.
It's so good. But there's a point in it where they're talking and they're just like, this guy goes, yeah, people don't understand. They're like, we're going to die skating. Like, this is what it is. This is our life. And I remember being like, oh man, there's so many similarities to comedy in that documentary. But I remember being like, yeah, this is just my life. And I'm either going to, for me, I have to be good and I have to be better and everything. And so that I can at least enjoy the way I'm killing myself.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fucking wild though, man.
Yeah.
God damn. Well,
Yeah,
dude, thank you for coming on.
Dude, this was so
appreciate
much fun. Yeah. Thanks for the water.
Yeah.
Thanks for the C note. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
What one more time for like just social media, where can people find your stuff?
Twitch.tv/sags2riches, Twitter @Brendan Sagalow, Instagram, all that shit @Brendan Sagalow. Subscribe to my YouTube and check out Here's the Scenario. Check out my podcast. If you like the Mike Cannon episode, he's one of my co-hosts.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's a good guy.
Appreciate that. And then hopefully you're gonna be coming out to Seattle. If you do, make sure to check out tickets to that.
Yeah.
I'll be posting if you are, and like, we don't have all the details on that, but hopefully we can make it happen. And if you guys did like this episode, rate and review this podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, throw a comment in if you the OJ guy or whatever. Fucking
Yeah, or Thaniel.
Help us out, OJ.
Oh, he'll be seeing this.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time, man. And
Of course.
we're going to leave you with Jaga.
I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool. 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 Welcome to